Listen, Linda. Listen, let me tell you. Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to the Standard of Truth podcast, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. Listen, Linda. Listen, let me tell you. Y'all, okay. I had planned to go to the Trump rally, and life happened, and I just didn't get a chance to go. However, while I was live streaming on Saturday night, and when I got off the live stream, my phone was blowing up because everybody was talking about Michaelah Montgomery. And let me just tell you this, before I review her speech at the Atlanta Trump rally, let me just tell you, I met Ms. Michaela. So the first time I was exposed to her was when I was watching the news footage like everybody else, and I saw her at the Chick-fil-A when Trump came to town. And I was like, wow, who is that? I was like, she has this really infectious personality, and she's bold, and she doesn't really care who is judging her for her support of the former president. And I really didn't think anything much else about it. And then back in June, when there was the Congress Cognac and Cigar event here in Atlanta, I went, and you guys know I've done content about that event. But when I took a little ladies' bathroom break, I get into the bathroom and I'm washing my hands, and I hear this young lady, no shade, y'all. She's in the stall talking because we were all kind of rushing to get to the bathroom because we didn't want to miss it. And she was in the stall and I'm washing my hands, and I hear that voice. And I know I'm weird like that. I said, "Are you Michaelah Montgomery?" And she was like, "Why, yes, I am." And so we're talking in the bathroom while she's in the stall and I'm washing my hands. I said, "Honey, I recognize that voice." I was like, "Oh, congratulations. I saw you, on the news and how exciting that was." And so we're just shooting the breeze. And then she invites me to her event, which is the next day. And I just had so happened to have already RSVP'd for that event. She was hosting a live debate watch party. And I said, "Well, yeah, I've already emailed you to let you know that I'm coming. So Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow." And we part ways. And now look at Miss Michaela. Miss Michaela had the opportunity to address the very large crowd at the local Atlanta Trump rally. And we're just going to go ahead and take a look to see this superstar in the making. We're just going to take a look to see how bright she was shining.
My name is Michaelah Montgomery. A lot of you guys know me as the girl from Chick-fil-A, but I am so much more than that. Not only do I serve as the CEO of Conserve the Culture, I am also the state director for Blexit down here in Georgia. I'm a Fulton County coordinator for America First Works, and I'm also launching a podcast on the Patriots Prayer Network, so put some respect on my name. Now, why don't we jump right into it? See, as a young single mother, I can tell y'all that rent is too damn high. I can tell you that as a young black voter, groceries are too damn high. And as an American citizen, period, seniors like my parents should never have to choose between medicine or food. It should never be the quality of life versus the quantity of life.
Let me just say out on the onset, Michaela is one of those people that once you've met her once, You will never forget her. She is definitely one of those memorable type of people. When she walks into the room, she kind of commands the attention and she just owns the space. I absolutely love people like this, people who've never met a stranger. And so I was very, very pleased to see her on this stage talking about just let's get to the issues. I don't have time to be playing games with y'all, to be talking about Trump's personality and all these felony cases and these trumped up charges and all of this, all of that. Listen, I want Christians to understand as it relates to this election is that when you are trying to vet your elder board and when you are trying to vet which candidate I'm going to choose for the president of the United States, those are two vastly different roles. And believers need to get to the point where they understand that the role of the president, it is not required that you be a professed believer. Absolutely, it would be nice. I'd love nothing more than a bona fide, born again, dyed in the wool, fire baptized believer to be in the White House. However, that is not a part of the job description. Okay, so I need us to make proper category distinctions and understand the assignment here. The first few points that Michaela brings up just makes sense, right? Like you don't need to be a Christian. You can be a Luciferian, pagan, devil worshiper, and you can observe the world and see that rent is too high and that groceries are too high. Something is going on in our economy that is driving the prices of goods and services to where it is unsustainable and unaffordable for the average person to live. And might I add, even if you are an above average person, when you look at the amount of money that it is costing you to live and the amount of money that you are spending just on the basics, even those who don't have to count their coins are like, well, wait a minute. There is way more money going out of this bank account than it used to be. What the heck is happening? Even old ghetto Cardi B, when she starts looking at her budget, she's trying to figure out, why are my people spending so much on groceries? Where is all this extra money going toward? It's going toward basic necessities. So just imagine if Cardi B started feeling the pinch in her wallet, right? What do you think the average American is feeling? Okay. And so when Michaela brings this up, I believe that every American, regardless of what side of the aisle you are on, you can identify with that basic fact based on observable reality. I don't understand why the Biden-Harris administration continues to lie and gaslight the American people to tell you stuff is coming down and the economy is doing great. This is a booming economy. Why would you trust and vote for a party that will blatantly lie to you about your lived experience and gaslight you and try to make you believe that the extra $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 a month that it is costing you to live and function in the world is actually not happening? Like, why would you trust them? I can't trust anything that you say because I can't even get you to agree that inflation and the cost of goods and services is a problem for the average American. But Michaela is just getting started here. Let's let her cook and continue.
And I don't want to hear, oh, but we capped the price of insulin and lowered the price of all these medicines. Yeah, but you raised the price of everything else. So it's about time to start telling the truth to Americans and let them know exactly what they're signing up for if they want to vote for Kamala Harris. We need to vote based on facts and not feelings. See, under Harris and Biden, the average Georgia household is losing $1,060 per month, and inflation is at 21.4%. And due to the war on energy, average gas prices have reached record highs for the state. We also did a poll, and 80% of us Black Americans are not happy with the current state of the economy, so I'm going to need 80% of y'all to vote accordingly in November. They love me. They love me. They really love me.
So there we have a little bit more personality shining through. She's owning and commanding the stage. And you guys, I just want to be clear. This is not an act. I have met Michaela in real life. This is her infectious personality. This is her just being who she is. You either love her or you don't. And it's very difficult, regardless of what you might think of your perception of her. Like I said, I've met her, and her personality is just like, you can't help but to gravitate toward a person like this, because you literally, everybody knows, has someone in their life like a Michaela. Just that person that's that straight shooter. She's going to tell it like it is. Never met a stranger. Everybody loves her, and she's just real and authentic. What I wanted to say, and the reason why I stopped here, is because I found it very interesting that everyone is always trying to paint Donald Trump as this, New York, high rolling, self-centered, he don't care about the people, all he cares about himself type of politician. But whether you're looking at this campaign for the 2024 election cycle, or the 2020 election cycle, or the 2016 election cycle, one thing you notice about Donald Trump is he would always tap on the shoulder just an average, regular, everyday American to disseminate his message. Very rarely, if he would tap a Hollywood elite person, it was a very down-to-earth Hollywood elite person that you could just relate to, that didn't come with all the bells and whistles. They're just like, hey, I love America and I just want to hire the best person for the job. A lot of people judged him when Diamond and Silk were a part of his 2016 run. They thought, this is just some kind of minstrel show. There are really no Black people out there in the world that really like him and believe in his message. And that just wasn't true. And then 2020, I don't know, maybe y'all probably, I don't talk about it a lot, but I was in a 2020 Trump commercial simply because I was at an event and someone asked me my honest opinion about what I thought about President Trump's presidency and why I was supporting him in 2020. And I just gave my honest, raw, and authentic opinion. And I'm just an average, everyday, just run-of-the-mill homeschool mom that happens to be melanated, right? And now you have here Michaelah Montgomery, a CAU graduate, okay? She's a member of the Atlanta University Center. I went to Spelman. So the fact that you have this young woman on this stage just stating facts, not identity politics, not talking about, oh, woe is me and white man bad and, my pronouns are this. This is a message, regardless of what she looks like, that resonates just with everyday people. Yes, the Biden-Harris administration might want to say, but we lowered the cost of insulin and all the medicines that Black folks happen to use. And then she points to the reality, which is yes, but the price of everything else has gone up, and now it's unsustainable and we can't afford to live. And yes, now we got our medicine, but now we out here eating cat food because we can't afford regular groceries and regular food. And we just, the basics are becoming more difficult for us to afford. She brings up that point, and I love it. And then I love the call to action where she actually goes 80%. If you ask the average Black person about their opinions on the economy, they will tell you they are struggling. The price of rent is too high. The gas prices are ridiculous. And there are people that are looking for ways to how they can telecommute and not leave their house and have to crank up their car at all because it's so expensive to go somewhere. If 80% of Black people are saying that the economy is a problem, why is it that the vast majority of them continue to vote for these Democrat politicians who have demonstrated that they have no experience on how to fix an economy, how to stimulate an economy, how to grow an economy? All they know how to do is tax you to death and spend up your money, and you have no observable results to show for it other than more wasteful spending and bad results. And the call to action from Michaela here is, since 80% of us have an issue with the state of the economy right now, I need 80% of y'all to govern yourselves accordingly and vote as if the economy is important to you, and vote for the person that we already know has a proven track record to stimulate and grow an economy and get this country back on track financially. I loved that portion. But Michaela's going to cook some more. Let's see what she got to say.
The left wants you to get in your feelings about things that have been said, but I want you guys to pay attention to what has been done. They don't want to talk policy. They just want to use propaganda to steal your vote.
That's how to get you. That is how to get you. Thank you, Michaela. She says the left wants you to spend a whole lot of time being emotionally worked up on, but he has said, and did you hear? Did you hear what he had said the last time? I can't deal with him. I can't understand why he has to speak that way. Listen, I don't mean to be disparaging. I really don't. Okay. But I really need people to look like me. I need you to grow up here and grow up. Get your head up out the sand and grow up and gain some emotional maturity for once in your life, and stop allowing the media to manipulate your emotions and be so worried about what Trump said, and look at the results and look at what he does. Let's have a substantive conversation about the policies, right? Because I'm trying to understand. You so worried about what a person says. Why are we not focused about all of the things Kamala has actually said in terms of what she intends to do or not do for Black people? Because she already said, I don't know why y'all expecting me to do something only for Black people. No, you'll excuse that smug, arrogant statement. But when Trump says something that rubs you the wrong way, but yet he does something that actually helps you and not harms you, you're too emotionally involved in your feelings to say, you know what? Yeah, he may have said this and I didn't like the way he said it, but this is what he did. And these results and the impact of these results and this policy of what he implemented really did help and benefit me. So this ain't about somebody making me happy. It's the trade-off. There are no solutions in this game of politics. There are only trade-offs. And the question is, why are you trading what somebody said versus what they did and ignoring what the other person said and then actually looking at what they did? Kamala's track record, whether it's as VP or Attorney General, is horrible. She has no experience in improving the lives of anyone other than herself. She makes money moves for herself. She has talked about depopulating the world, and the easiest people group, right, to get them to depopulate themselves, unfortunately, is the Black American community, right? Because all they got to do is sell you the idea of murdering your own baby, and you'll do it. You'll do it. And not only will you do it, you'll hold up a sign or a flag and celebrate, right? You'll celebrate the right to be able to do that, to kill your own progeny, right? And to impact human flourishing. It's easy to sell you on that. They can talk to you about gun control, literally disarming you. And then when the Pookies and the Ray Rays come into your community and you call the police and they don't come because you defunded them, and now you have nothing to protect yourself from Pookie and Ray Ray, you sitting here trying to understand, I don't know. I don't understand why our communities are just, why they just the way that they are, because elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. So when Michaela says, I don't want to talk about what somebody has said, I want to talk about what are these people doing and what is she going to do?
The left is trying to tout this woman as a savior for the black community, but all she's done is hurt the black community since she came into the game. See, the first step in destroying the black community is to dismantle the black family. So aside from her record as a prosecutor, why don't we ask Mrs. Willie Brown if Kamala Harris cares about black families?
Oh! Yeah, Michaela! I'm sorry, I had to take a moment of silence. I just want to take a moment of silence for, oh dear, Kamala Harris, because if I was Kamala, I'd be rocking in the corner, holding myself, crying right now after that statement, just rocking back and forth, because you ain't really too much you can do with that cook right there. That was a cook. That was a flex, Michaela. And Michaela, when I see you, honey, okay, everybody need a Michaela in their life. You need that friend. You need that friend that just got the right clap back. She got the right clap. Run me that clap back again.
See, the first step in destroying the black community is to dismantle the black family. So aside from her record as a prosecutor, why don't we ask Mrs. Willie Brown if Kamala Harris cares about black families?
Oh my good, Listen, I understand that in politics, it's not always nice to bring up a person's past, but what the heck, they bring up Donald Trump's past all the time. Not his policies and what he's done, but bring up his past. Like, oh, he cheated on his wife. Absolutely. He's a pagan. He's an unbeliever. He's unconverted. He's dead in his sin. That's what sinners do. Not making excuses for it. Not saying it's right, but it is what it is. And at the same token, yes, Kamala is, she's a pagan, right? She's dead in her sin. She's an unbeliever. She's unconverted. She don't know Jesus. So in her younger days, right, who she used to be and probably who she might still be, she was a homewrecker. She had no problem, sleeping with a married man to advance her career. And I get it. She got something out of it. She got a little BMW allegedly. She got some pretty powerful, important appointments, to kind of take her to the next level. But I think it's interesting that Michaela brought up the fact that, Kamala doesn't really talk much about the black family, because she's actually done quite a bit of harm, right? In terms of her policy, not personally. Now, personally, what happened with Willie Brown, yes, then that demonstrated complete, absolute disrespect for the sanctity of somebody's marriage, and possibly, we don't know, destroying a black family. But we do know policy-wise that the black family is not that important to Kamala, because she spends a great deal of time trying to convince black women, not necessarily black men. Now, she'll use black men and then lock them up and put them in jail. But she spends a lot of time trying to convince black women that, the most important thing that needs to drive their voting decisions this election cycle is voting to kill more babies. And that worldview is just the antithesis of human flourishing, just on a basic general level. Forget the black family part, but it is an anti-God, anti-human flourishing worldview. And it confuses me because there are just so many black pastors who claim to love and care about the black family, but they're supporting this candidate who actually wants to actively do things to destroy the black family, such as promoting womb assassination and pushing the LGBT agenda. So individuals like Bishop J. Drew Sheard, I don't understand why you're with her, other than the fact that it must pay you really well, or you don't believe the Bible and love God and his word, because you're supporting her. And you know that she is wholly on board with the LGBT agenda and the transitioning of our children, which doesn't promote or help support healthy Black families. Now, as far as I know, you have a healthy Black family, right? You've been married to your lovely wife, Karen Clark Sheard of the famous Clark sisters, and you guys have been married for a very long time, and you've provided a stable home for you and your children. Well, but what about the rest of Black America? Should we not understand and hear from you and learn about that message of what it takes and what's required to raise, maintain, and promote a healthy Black family? How can we have what you have, Bishop Sheard, if you want us to vote for a candidate that doesn't really want to see Black families flourish, but she wants to snuff out the lives of the unborn? Right, and promote same-sex unions, which in under the confines of a same-sex union, you don't get a man and a woman in the bona fide state of marriage coming together, having babies, which would promote the Black family. So I agree with Michaela when she says that I don't really think Kamala is interested or finds it a priority for Black families to flourish and be healthy. And therefore, this is why she can't point to a policy that she's ever implemented that would support that, because her whole policy platform is built on sex savagery, secularism, and the culture of death. All you had to do was look at her Atlanta rally, and she told you what was important to her. She wants Black women out here shaking their tail and twerk something for it, doing something strange for some change. That's what she wants you to do. She don't care about no Black family. If she was interested in Black families, she wouldn't have had Meg the Stallion up there. She would have brought out a successful Black family, a daddy and a mommy and some babies together, and had them talk about how great her policies have been and how it has improved the lives of their family. But she can't do that because she can't show that kind of work. She don't have those kind of results. So Bishop Sheard and Pastor Terry Anderson, you're with her now. Not because you claim you love and support the Black family, but the candidate you're supporting, where's the receipts? Where's her work to show that she supports the Black family? I'm so glad Michaela brought this up, because we can drive this point home till the cows come home. And what it's going to do is it's going to indict so many Black pastors, right, who make their living off of the Black family not staying together, because, the more single women you have in your church, the more money you get. The more money you get from the fake Black family. But Black families, you need Black men in order to have Black families. So, Michaela's cooking. Michaela is cooking.
If Mrs. Willie Brown, a Black woman, is also with her. A few days ago, President Trump said he didn't know Vice President Harris was a Black woman. I'm trying to figure out what all the outrage is about, because she's only Black when it's time to get elected. Did I lie?
No, baby. Baby girl, no, you did not lie. Now, y'all know how I feel about identity politics, right? I just think it is such a shallow and silly way to engage in a conversation about policy and what's going to help move this conversation forward. But since she brought up, Kamala's ethnicity, and since, on the right, we don't really care about your ethnicity. It's about a meritocracy. Like, we care about conservatives. Who is the best person for the job? The skills, gifts, and talents and abilities that they have when they put forth that effort, how is that going to improve the lives of Americans? And it really has nothing to do with what color you are or what gender you are. And I would even go as far as to say that they ain't really checking for your sexual orientation like that either. I mean, it kind of matters, but it's just like, whatever. We don't care. That's your business. We're not trying to push policies to push you forward. We just want to know, what is it that you are gifted and capable of doing that's going to improve the lives of America and push America forward. So when Michaela brings up this whole ethnicity conversation, since the left likes being so obsessed with race all the time and talking about black this and white people that and my gender and my identity and my pronouns are this, since they like talking about all that stuff, Michaela just kind of brings it up. And just like Trump brought it up, I mean, the elephant in the room is, when did she become black? Because before 2020, she was identifying as the first Indian American person. And then when it was convenient for her, when she found that it was going to be useful for her to capitalize off of her connections within the Black community, such as her membership in Alpha Kappa Alpha and her attendance of an HBCU, such as Howard University, it was then and only then that it became important for the world to know that she was Black. But before that, there was the black currency wasn't really worth that much on the market back in the 80s and the 90s. What she realized is that the currency of the blackness has appreciated in value. And so now it is a good time to kind of pull that out and be like, bam, my credit limit on the pro-blackity black side is super high now because, supply and demand. Back then, before identity politics was so heavily in circulation in this political discussion, it really didn't help her to pull out the black card. But now that we have DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and everything has to do with this intersectionality stuff about, well, what is your ethnicity and what is your gender and what is your sexuality? Now, Kamala decides that she wants to bring that up. And now it's important to the conversation. So that's why when they asked Donald Trump about her ethnicity, he's just like, well, I mean, she's always been black. She's always been Indian to me. When did she become black? And so when Michaela brings this up, I thought, I don't like identity politics, but I understand why she did it, because it's the only language that the left understands. And so now we got to speak in baby talk to them. We got to speak in baby talk and talk about identity politics and actually use it against them, because they're the ones that keep bringing it up all the time. So since you're bringing it up, the question is, when did she become black? When did she become black? I love that part.
The same black people who are mad at Trump for being confused about her race, ethnicity, nationality, whatever, are seemingly forgetting that while you're touting her as a savior for black people, she identifies as an Asian woman. She chose her side and it wasn't ours.
And that's fine. To be fair, if she was choosing to identify as, a Southeast Asian, an Indian, whatever, there's actually nothing wrong with that. But ma'am, stand on your square and pick a struggle. Okay. Either see, this is why I think identity needs to be out of it. Because if you're going to, the currency on the South Asian side, right, that credit limit is short, because they don't need to run on the basis of ethnicity. They too busy out here buying up everything, okay, and buying up all the gas stations, the motels, the hotels. Like, they're too busy engaged in commerce and getting the bag to be engaged in this silly and shallow, low-level thinking type discussion. Right. So it wasn't politically expedient for her to continue to run on being the first Indian American president. But on the black side, the pro-blackity blacks, I had an individual in my live chat talk about the low self-esteem of black people is what drives this ethnic narcissism. And Kamala Harris knows that. She knows that these people just love the vanity metric. They love the symbolism of it all. It don't have to do nothing for them, but it just make them feel good on the inside. And so she jumped on that. She's capitalizing on that. I don't care whether she identifies as an Indian because her mother is Indian, or she wants to all of a sudden identify as a black person, even though technically she's not really of the African diaspora, but whatever on the father's side. But here's the deal. It's irrelevant to the conversation. But since the left wants to talk about it like it's the most important thing about her, because in fact, when in comparison to her record, they have to focus on her ethnicity, because if they actually focus on her work and what she's actually done, that part ain't that good. So they got to use the ethnicity as a smokescreen, in my opinion. But let's let Michaela finish. She's almost done.
When asked if she would ever do anything specifically for black people, she said no. Whereas Trump gave us the Platinum Plan, which specifically uplifted the black community by increasing capital by almost $500 billion, creating 500,000 new black businesses, and would give black churches the ability to fight for federal resources for their communities.
And you know what black folks did with that Platinum Plan? They told Trump where to go and how to get there. They rejected the Platinum Plan. Remember, the Platinum Plan wasn't even a part of his 2016 campaign initiative. That wasn't one of the things policy-wise that he was pushing. Now, he did some amazing things from 2016 through 2020, but in his 2020 presidential re-election run, he unveiled the Platinum Plan, where he sat down with Ice Cube and he took a little bit of some consultative advice from Ice Cube and what Ice Cube was making demands and wanting for his people. And Trump was like, okay, I'm gonna take that under advisement. And then Trump rolls out it was an amalgamation of what he had already planned to do, coupled with a little bit of what Ice Cube wanted to do, and he rolled out the Platinum Plan. And do you know what the pro-blackity blacks did to the Platinum Plan? They rejected it. They sure did. They rejected it by way of casting their vote for the corpse that is kind of out of the White House. We don't really know the status of that. But that's when I realized that there was some sort of emotional or mental deficiency within the minds of most black people, because for the first time in so long, they had a Republican candidate who actually listened to what black people said they wanted. And he put together a plan and a roadmap on how to achieve some things and get them there. And they did not vote for it. They slapped him in the face and they voted for their actual oppressor. That's what they did with the Platinum Plan. And if it were me, if I were Trump, this is why I don't know if y'all heard me say Republicans, GOP, nominees, independents, libertarians. I don't care who the candidate is. They need to stop trying to come up with policies and initiatives just for black people. You just need to focus on the greater good of the country in general. And those black people who can see the work that you're doing and the value that you're adding, those black people are going to come along and they're going to get on your program and they're going to be on your side. And then they are going to be a recipient of that American prosperity, not because they're black, but because they're Americans. But when you go out of your way to try to court these people like this and try to make promises, and believe it or not, everything Trump set out to do as it relates to the black community, he was able to achieve a vast majority of it. But in my opinion, I'd be like, I'm not doing nothing for you Negroes because you're unappreciative and you're ungrateful and you like the abuse that the Democrats give you. You like it. You love when they get you on a Zoom call and tell you that you need to get on board with the Hispanics because they're outpacing you anyway. So you need to learn to work with them. And yes, we're going to import a whole bunch of illegal people. We're going to drop them in your neighborhoods and we're going to give them EBT cards. They got like $3,000 balances on it. And we're going to pay their rent and get them work permits. And we're going to let them drive down your wages and drive you out of, your jobs and your housing. Yeah, we're going to do all of that, because we tired of dealing with y'all anyway, because it ain't never good enough. Like that's what y'all did to the platinum plan. You voted for your oppressor and you stomped and campaigned for the oppressor. Now you're doing it again, falling for the okie doke with Kamala Harris. She got all the black pimp, pulpit pimp, unbiblical bootleggers, right? The Marxist melanin mobsters. She got all of them in her back pocket and they're supporting her, talking about, I'm with her. Cause cause she black. And so that's her sister who went to Howard. And she an AKA. So therefore, yes. If I were Trump, listen, I know you mean well. And you keep trying to put your arms around these people and extend the right hand of fellowship to these people, but they ungrateful. It ain't never gonna be good enough. So why? I don't even know why you're still trying. What you need to do is just focus on what can I do to improve the lives of Americans? And those of us who have learned how to function in freedom on the basis of being an American, and we don't have this unhealthy relationship and this ethnic narcissism where we got to be obsessed with our blackness, those of us out here, we gonna ride with you till the wheels fall off, and we're gonna be the beneficiaries and the recipients of the American prosperity that you are just trying to create for everyone. But if I were you, I wouldn't do nothing. I wouldn't come up with another platinum plan, a platinum plan 2.0, a bronze plan, a titanium. I wouldn't do it. I sure would not. But that's just me. That's just me. Why? Because if I'm going to be a consistent Christian and say that we don't need to deal in the realm of identity politics, it goes for this as well. I don't believe GOP candidates need to start appealing to black folks, appeal to the American exceptionalism that's within everyone who has recognized the beauty that this country is and the opportunities that have been afforded to people who are citizens of this country. And then those who catch the vision catch it. And those who want to sit on the sideline and whine and moan and complain about being a victim and being held down by the white man who don't have his knee on their neck. Well, if it's a Democrat, he might. But hey, I'm moving on. The train is moving with or without you. Either you're going to get on board, get on cold, and go out here and get this bread in your pocket because the opportunity's been created for you, or you're going to sit on the sidelines, rocking, holding yourself, crying in the corner like Kamala's doing right now because Michaela's cooking and done hurt her feelings. That's what I have to say about that.
And why are we acting like strong borders aren't a thing literally everywhere else in the world? Since when has being patriotic been a crime? See, a few weeks ago at the debate, Trump mentioned black jobs. And a lot of people got in an uproar as if they didn't know what he meant. Well, we go to the polls and cast our black vote. We go to the stores and spend our black dollar. We live in our black community, but for whatever reason, we draw the line at a black job. Oh, but wait, because if you're wondering what a black job is, please, I encourage you all to drive through Atlanta at all these beautiful black-owned businesses and check and see who works there. Probably a black person working for a black entrepreneur, recycling the black dollar, creating black generational wealth. If they come here illegally and they're taking your jobs and your resources, then please believe my cousins in the Appalachians, they coming for you too. And
you know what I liked about this part of Michaela's speech? I liked the fact that she's standing up there. Yes, she is a black woman, and she is coming with a message to help, just break down a lot of the complexity as to why black people need to consider voting for President Trump. But her message wasn't divisive because what she managed to do in such a short amount of time was to include so many other demographics within this country that are equally suffering. I'm not going to get to it here, but she talked about farmers. She talked about people in Appalachia. She talked about the fentanyl and the drugs and the crime that's coming across this border and how it's impacting the lives of Americans. She talked about how Kamala won't say Laken Riley's name. What Michaela was able to do was stand there. She didn't have to compromise who she was to do it, but she was able to disseminate a unifying message that all those different types of people that are sitting behind her can identify and say, you know what, I can get with that. You know, she's telling the truth there. You know, show you right. That right there is the truth. And you don't have to be a Black person for this message to work for you. You didn't have to be an Asian person or a white person or Hispanic person. You didn't have to engage in any sort of identity politics for the message that Michaela spoke that day, for it to resonate with you. However, if you were a Black person that's been caught up in the identity politics and you haven't been focused on the policies, but rather the identity and the ethnicity of Kamala Harris, what Michaela was also able to do was speak to you in a very matter-of-fact language that you can understand. And one thing you cannot say is that she is lying. You cannot find the lie in anything that she's saying. And that's what makes her dangerous. But that's what also makes her lovable. And that's what also makes Donald Trump the candidate for this hour. Because you don't have to be white. You don't have to be Black. You don't have to be anything other than an American with common sense to see that the message that she brought that day was a unifying message, right? And it accomplished the exact purpose that she set out for it to accomplish, which was for her to highlight that Kamala and her policies are trash. It won't be a benefit or a help to Black people at all. And that you were too much in your feelings, worried about what Donald Trump says, and you ain't focused and concerned about what he's done and what he intends to do. So in essence, what did I think about Michaela's speech? I thought it was a masterpiece. She came full of energy. Right? She didn't have to, fake the funk and be fake and be somebody that she's not. They allow her to be herself. And now we see the future of the Republican Party that, yes, it's going to be a little bit more inclusive. Like, oh, listen, she can go wherever she want to go because the message is the same. I absolutely loved this speech. This young lady cooked. She cooked and she sizzled and she dropped many, many mics. And I have actually extended the olive branch and I have sent her an email. So Michaela, if you are watching, I emailed you because I want to invite you to an event that I'm having here on August 19th. And if you accept, I have an award that I want to personally give to you myself because you deserve it, beautiful. You absolutely deserve it. That is the type of America that I want to live in. I want to live in an America with a whole bunch of Michaelas. I do. Because at the end of the day, it is not what divides us or what makes us so different that is the most important. It's the idea that despite those differences, we all want the same thing. We want better political representation and we want better living conditions. And Kamala Harris can provide neither of those. She will not be a better political representative for you. And she cannot provide better living conditions for you or your family, regardless of whether you are Black, white, Puerto Rican, or Asian. That's just a fact. But I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? What do you think? Did you think Michaela hit the nail on the head and she killed it and she cooked and she handed Kamala her whole behind? Or if you didn't like it at all, you just thought that, it just wasn't appropriate. I just wish he would have picked somebody else. Like, whatever you think, let me know down in the comments below. Grace and peace, you guys.